Hello everyone, welcome to the channel. This channel exists to process and discuss the nature of my relationship with Quentin Tarantino and the movie Critic. I wrote him a series of letters about playing the lead in the film, which set into motion a sequence of events that led to where we are now. A condition which can only be described as a legendary psychic siege, which he will always deny forever. But the same tactics that he uses to besiege my mind with the notions of him murdering me are the same tactics that he used to cultivate the notion of being a movie star. He set me up, per his standards, to question him about his book cinema speculation at a screening of Jackie Brown last year with Robert De Niro. And when he turned his back on my letter, I turned my back and left, because he didn't actually say anything. He only exercised his clairvoyance upon me. And that wasn't enough for me. Would have been enough for anyone else, but not for me. I hated myself for months, right? And so from there, he entered into this campaign to make me appear insane, and he can always say that I'm insane. He can always misconstrue the things that I sent out of trust, out of love, to suit the scope of his intent. So, between the screening of Jackie Brown through the end of the year, very dense braid of psychosexual torture. At the beginning of the new year, I began remote viewing for the first time actively just to find out what the truth is. And soon enough, maybe 3 weeks later, it was revealed to me that everything that he had been telling me is bullshit. And then it became obvious that he's just playing at this subtle game, and he's going to keep fucking with me until I blow my brains out. And so I've been trying to come clean ever since. There's no other way to interpret it. Right? And so if we say that clairvoyance is real, and we say that every time that you remote view someone, your connection becomes exponentially stronger than it was before, right? I call it the square law, where if you remote view someone one time, and you're both aware of what's occurring, your connection is now 4 times stronger than it was previously. 2 squared is 4. And if you do it a second time, it's now 9 times stronger. That's 3 squared. And if you do it a third time, it's now 16 times stronger. On and on and on and on and on. So I'm not going to go through the whole story because it would take too long. I'm gonna drop a long form video going through the whole thing again soon enough. But him and the people around him, perhaps it's all him, I don't believe that's true, have all spent upwards of 200 hours, 300 hours remote viewing me. So we have this very palpable hive mind. And as a result of him doing a bunch of awful, evil shit to me, to make me blow my brains out, to make me seem insane, he succeeded in some way. As far as the press and everyone around him, they just believe his lies. That's what he looks them all in the eye and lies. And so this is why, David Fincher, right? I'm selling the script, right? Oh, it took him a year to figure out he was going to do that. He canceled the film, and then what? Just thought about it for a whole year. No, he was campaigning towards me committing suicide because I sent him a scene and he wants that scene. Or he's just pure evil and is addicted to power. This isn't about a movie. If this was about a movie, he would have paid me to go away. This is about power and control. And so now everyone that's around him has to reckon with the fact that they've insulated a high evil, no matter what he tells them. When they look at themselves in the mirror, aemanuel, Mike Simpson, Stacey Scher, Trey Anastasio, David Berlinski, David Mamet, right, Paul Schrader, Martin Scorsese, all these people. Right? And he can lie to all of them, right? He can lie to the world. That's where we're at now. Right? I accept that he's just gonna hover like a goblin in my mind forever. And as a result of him doing fucked up shit, I suspect that he will pay people to remote view me forever. Therefore, our connection will never diminish. As long as they persist in this way, I'll always be right there at the forefront of their minds as well. Right? And so, I allowed this to occur. I could have done what I did at the New Year in August. Right? But I trusted him. I wanted to show him my remorse because I did feel bad. And now, seeing what it's turned into, no, he's not a cool guy. He's an evil, dangerous man. And I have no reason not to assume that he will eventually hit his breaking point psychologically and send someone to murder me. If he's not prepared to reconcile, then he wants us both to suffer. And since I know he doesn't want to suffer forever, I have palpable concern that my life is in danger. If you recall, I said that I'm going to start writing again. I have to take back my life. I have to take back my light. Because all that's left is evil. I can't stop him from being evil. I can't do that. But I can be who I am, which is not a movie star. Okay. Saturday, November 1, 8:20 a.m., 25. I always awake in high spirits, awash in a vast tapestry of thoughts, consistently inconsistent regarding texture and size, but always crystalline. I have been awake for some hour and a half. However, I am only just now writing. I had dreams, Halloween dreams, which I can no longer recall. So many nights subjected to gunshots, an ugly evil he will always deny, being dishonest and nihilistic to his core. What do I mean? I've discussed it before. Things important often bear repeating. Engendering a psychic connection is the excitation of the target brain by the practitioner, pushing a thought force of intention out through creation like a radio signal. The highest level is quantum entanglement, all but impossible and surely the most dangerous. An electrical membrane relays the intention from the practitioner to the target back to the practitioner at the speed of light. The denser the braid, the higher the calamity. So if the electrical condition is a gunshot, the target, if unprepared, is drowned in dense electric pressures of magnetic effluvia. So the practitioners, all focus on the target. And once the connection is palpable, they fire a gunshot through the target's picture, perhaps a bust or clay fetish, and strive to overwhelm the target thereby, overwhelming and torturing with reckless abandon. The first time it happened to me, I was napping in the early morning, and it all but sent me into shock. From then it has occurred countless times, and every time, if asleep or occupied, it collapses a dangerous electric waveform upon my brain in an effort to give me a stroke or an aneurysm. No such thing as legal precedent for psychic assassination. I go brain dead, have a stroke, blow my brains out, etc. Then Quentin's problems are solved, and he always has plausible deniability. Pure evil. I don't want to fight. I've never been fighting. I've been listening and showing my remorse for my cowardice. But now I see he only has designs on my demise. There is no other way to interpret it. I'm being strong, but I'm afraid. This is why I have to talk about it. It's time for disclosure. Right? And so this happened very recently. Within the last month. 2 weeks, 3 weeks. Right? Again, when he was on that film set in France, right? No, he was torturing me in his trailer. Right? In between takes. And at the time, I believed he was shooting my scene. Now the trades have since published that he was on a film set, acting. And so as far as his agency is concerned, the people who represent him, the people who insulate his evil, I wonder what they think when they see that I'm writing these things, right? The exact same time that he's finishing shooting his first real acting job in 20 years. Not publicly available. What a coincidence. So, it's about talking about it. It's about bringing everyone into the conversation. Right? He's allowed to lie. He's allowed to say that I'm insane. He's allowed to have a document that's fake and say, oh, this is where I told him. Right? That's fine. That's fine, but it's time to, right? Disclosure. It's time to bring everyone in. Right? Sorcery is done in the dark. Magic's done in the light. He's allowed to hate me. He's allowed to say that I'm a loser and humiliate me and all these things. As far as the things that I sent, the things that I sent him were out of love and trust, and I never would have done that if I realized that he's a dangerous man-child. Right? So I'm seeing a scene kind of like coagulating in my mind. Perhaps I'll write it in the coming days. I don't suppose I have anything else to talk about for now. My fear is all-consuming. It's never going to get any better. Is he actively torturing me all day like he was when he was on that film set? No, in that way. It is better. But if he does anything, right, this is the point. Like, this is what I was talking about in my video yesterday, that he has an established pattern of behavior, right? We have 3 different instances this year directly correlated to his instances of public exposure or work, right, as far as the acting role, wherein, right, he subjected my mind to dangerous evil. Right? And I've left so many voicemails with WME. I don't know what Mike Simpson thinks, honestly. I don't know what they think. Right? I have a valid case for intentional infliction of emotional distress against William Morris Endeavor, 100%. And if I had any money, I suppose I would sue him, just to get it over with, right? To see if he pays me or doesn't. I tried. I did. But that torture he put me through, it's not about money. It's not about money. This has never been about money, right? Like, he's concerned with status, right? He's concerned with power, influence, right? All of his influence is paper thin, right? And so, right, this is why I came into his life, right? To remind him that clairvoyance is, nah, that's not the way. That's not the way. Love, compassion, honesty, right? He showed me that, and that's the way that he loves people. That's the way that he loves people. I get it. I get it. But I also see that he humiliates the actors in his films in that way. And so, when I think about Rick Dalton's storyline, right? That both of those storylines hearken to some psychological truth within both of them. Right? Leo DiCaprio, right? They're both bankable stars, but they have, right? Like, he's not what he used to be, is he? Right? And Brad Pitt, right? Wife beating drunk, right? Turned murderer, stuntman, right? It's the same, again, it's the same story. So in that way, he got what he wanted per his standards, right? He's the puppet master. I regretted not giving him what he wanted for a long time. But, right, after the truth became clear, it took me a long time. It took me months, right? And I know that they're up to here with it as well, because, right, it's a dangerous condition psychologically. That's the truth. I guess, like, the only question worth asking is, are they prepared to lie their entire lives to everyone? Right? Is he prepared to, right? Because if and when they release this film, it's going to bring more people to my videos. It's going to make people ask, oh, gosh, like, I wonder if that guy, like, maybe that guy is telling the truth. Like, why isn't he telling the truth? Like, why not? That makes perfect sense, actually. So, see what's good in your life. Know that life is not an accident. All instances of clairvoyance is the individual mind of man tapping into, connecting their conscious awareness to the non-local conscious field, which persists in every cubic centimeter of space as a quantum hologram. So you can be concerned with power, right? You can be concerned with why, or you can be concerned with how. And how the universe works is off of a singular principle, which is love. Clairvoyance divides itself into 2 schools: the healer and the destroyer, magic and sorcery. That you can devote your clairvoyant energy, right, your psychic electric membranes of intention, onto the sick, to alleviate their suffering, to destroy and obliterate their diseases of heart, of soul, of body, of mind. Or, right, which is what I find myself in, you and your collective group of goblins can all use your clairvoyant, right, psychic prowess to seek to destroy someone because they didn't give you what you want. So all I can do is talk about it and suffer. That's it. Like, that's it. There's nothing, right? Medication can't help me, right? Nothing. There's nothing that can stop him and the people around him, right? I could take pills until I'm in a chemical stupor, that's true, but it doesn't solve anything. Right? So I have to cope. I have to talk about it. And so, right, this is like he set this boundary and said, nope, you're insane. That's like, you didn't give me what I want, so I'm going to prove you insane, and has perpetrated a hideous evil upon me. And so we're going to talk about it, right? I don't need his approval, right? And there's that part of me that's like, afraid he's going to murder me, 100%, 100%. Why shouldn't I? Like, no one does all of these things to say, oh, drats, he's not going to kill himself. Guess I'll be mentally ill forever for the last years of my life, right? And so as far as their daughter and the whole, like, the psyche of that whole thing, it's done, right? Even if I'm gone, every time they see her, they'll think of me, right? I don't want to die. That's why I'm talking about it. That's why it's time to bring everyone into the conversation. It's time for disclosure, like I wrote in my page. So let me know what you think. God bless.